Manga-Waido.
My name is Yuka Tatano, 23 years old. I had an accident when I was little and lost the ability to use my legs. But I've been living in a wheelchair for as long as I can remember, so I'm used to it. I also go to work by myself. I started working when I was 18 years old. I chose to work after graduating from high school because I had 3 younger brothers and it was financially difficult for us. I was worried when I started working as a temporary worker because there were no permanent spots due to the recession. But now I'm happy with being a temporary worker because the staffing agency's representative introduced me to a place where I could work comfortably, even in a wheelchair. I've worked for 3 companies so far and all of them were warm and welcoming, which was great. But the temporary work this time around was not good. The environment and conditions were very good, but my boss was the worst.
Tatano! Didn't I tell you you're in my way? Get out of the way!
I'm sorry.
For God's sake! Wheelchairs are a nuisance! Why don't you just get a cane like the other disabled people?
I'm sorry. I can't walk with a cane because I can't move from the knees down.
No excuses! Out of the way already! I'm busy! Just don't get in my way!
This was the worst boss ever. Suda. On the first day of work, he told me.
Stop acting like a spoiled brat just because you're disabled!
He harasses me ever since. The other employees tell me.
Suda's like that to everyone, so don't worry about it.
Leave the copying to someone else and do what you can at your desk. They were very considerate, but to be honest, it was hard for me because no one had ever treated me like that before. Normally, I would have immediately consulted the staffing agency and asked them to intervene. But this time, I was on an introductory temp assignment and was promised a permanent position if I worked there for 3 months without causing any problems. I wouldn't want to get in trouble with Suda and lose my opportunity to become a permanent employee. Besides, once you become a regular employee, there's a possibility for a transfer. If Suda or I get transferred, we won't have to be involved with each other. Let's hold out a little longer. With that in mind, I decided to endure for a while. But I was reminded that I was being naive. Suda saw me as a target for not talking back and scolded me for various things every time we saw each other. As usual,
You're in the way! You're too slow!
things like that were common. He even said some terrible things that I don't even want to remember. If I get good at my job, Suda might approve of me. I worked as fast as possible with that in mind, but that seemed to be an eyesore for Suda. When I dodge him, Suda would walk into me. At this point, it was on purpose. This was simply harassment. And one day, a decisive incident occurred.
Why do you keep interrupting me?
No, I didn't mean to.
I'm in a hurry. I don't have time for this like you temp workers.
I'm sorry.
That's enough. I don't need people who keep interrupting me. Go work in the warehouse.
What?
You're free to do whatever you want in there. It's big and empty, so you can wander around in your wheelchair and not get in anyone's way.
No!
We can cut your contract if you don't like it. Now get to the warehouse! Do as you're told!
Other employees.
Chief, that's a little...
The warehouse is too much! Defended me, but
This is a chief's order!
Suda said, and wouldn't listen to them. The atmosphere turned sour. I felt bad for the other employees for causing this mood. Understood. I will do what I can in the warehouse. I apologize for the inconvenience. I left the room with a computer so I could seal DMs, organize data on business cards, etc. The employee followed me, but I told them I'm fine and asked them to go back. I didn't want to cause any more trouble for the employees. The warehouse is where they keep their supplies and unused papers. I honestly didn't like the dark and gloomy atmosphere, but hey, there's a window. Oh, it's pretty bright. I opened the blinds and opened the windows to get an unexpectedly nice breeze. And the warehouse seemed to have thick walls, so you could hardly hear anything outside. It was the perfect place to concentrate on my work. It's not so bad in here. And so the days of getting work in the morning and working in the warehouse began. The employees were concerned. The warehouse is not as bad as you might think. Come take a peek if you like. When I say that with a smile. On their breaks or when they bring something in, they would come to the warehouse. This place isn't bad at all. I wish I could work here, if anything. Right? The breeze is nice and the sun feels good. It's not bad at all. I'm glad to see you smiling, Tatano-san. I feel bad that I couldn't protect you from Suda that time. Oh no. Nagishi-san, you did nothing wrong. I'm glad you could come check on me like this. Let's go to the cafeteria for lunch. I'll come by later. Yes. In addition to Nagishi-san, who was an employee, my fellow temporary workers also came, so I didn't feel lonely. Rather, I was able to work comfortably thanks to Suda no longer harassing me. Something even better happened after that. One day when I was humming because no one was around, Tatano-san! Oh, Nagishi-san! Oh, you're here. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. You're a good singer, Tatano-san! Oh no, I just like it. Were you a singer or something? I was in the choir in high school. That makes sense. You have a great voice. Hey, you know what? It's basically soundproof in here. How about we all sing together during break time? Invite some people who like singing. Oh, that's a great idea. Ever since then, Nagishi-san invited people who liked music, and we started to gather at the warehouse. Now we spend most of our break time happily singing together in the warehouse and introducing each other to songs we like. I was depressed when I was told to go to the warehouse, but I never thought I would be able to build such a good relationship with the employees. I'm glad I was sent to the warehouse, but the good things didn't last. After lunch break, I was seeing my fellow temporary workers off from the warehouse.
What's up with you all coming out of the warehouse?
Chief!
What? You bottom feeders getting together to lick each other's wounds? You temp workers belong in the dark warehouse!
Suda, who happened to be passing by, said something like that with a smug look on his face. Chief, please don't be so rude.
Shut up! You're a temp worker! You bottom feeders have no right to talk back to us employees!
But...
Or what? You want to go against me and get denied a permanent position? That would be a problem, wouldn't it? If you don't make it here, you guys will never be full-timers!
Suda was right. I don't know if I'll ever have a chance to become a full-time employee with such good conditions. Me and my fellow temporary workers just kept our heads down and remained silent. But the opportunity to get back at Suda finally came. But it wasn't anything I did. That day, we were spending the rest of the break time in the warehouse after lunch as usual. This song is really good. My brother told me about it yesterday. Oh, I know this one. It's good. I like it too. Which one? Yeah, it's good. Maybe I'll download it too. We were getting excited about music when the door opened and a man came in.
Tatano-san! There you are!
Saito-san? What's the matter? I thought we didn't have an interview today. He was Saito-san from the staffing agency. He's my supervisor who's been helping me all this time. In the back, Suda was panicking, dripping in sweat. I heard later that Saito-san had something to do with us temporary workers that day, and he came without an appointment at noon. But since we weren't in the cafeteria or at the office...
Where are our temporary workers?
He asked an employee. Then, one of the employees told him, she's in the warehouse.
The warehouse? It's not like that! Hey, you! What are you saying?
It's true. Section Chief Suda told Tatano-san, wheelchairs get in the way, so go to the warehouse. And Tatano-san started working in the warehouse. Out of concern for Tatano-san, many employees go to the warehouse during their lunch break now.
I heard that after such an exchange, an angry Saito-san came here.
Tatano-san, you must have been very frustrated to be sent to such a place.
No, actually, it's not bad.
What?
Suda probably thought I would say, "It was hard," and cry. "I'm rather comfortable here," I told him, and he looked at me like a pigeon that got hit by a pea shooter. "I'm much more comfortable working in the warehouse than being cursed by Chief Suda or threatened with, 'You won't be promoted to a full-time employee.' So I don't hate it here." When I honestly told him what I was thinking, Saito-san turned red in anger and said,
How could you?
In contrast, Suda turned pale and said,
Why would you say that? You! Can't you see that you're putting me in a bad position if you say something like that to the staffing agent? You're too cocky for a cripple! That's why you're in the warehouse! Oh! I can't listen to you. Is that how you're always treating your temporary workers?
Suda shut his mouth in a panic, but it was already too late. I laughed at his magnificent self-destruction. You can't hold back on what you've said. Later, Saito-san conducted an interview, and Suda's harassment came to light. Apparently, Suda had previously mistreated a person with a disability who came from another temporary staffing agency and made them quit.
This is a serious offense! Hurting a temporary worker is unforgivable! We will have to consider a lawsuit!
Saito-san lost his temper, to which the top manager admitted his fault, and Suda was demoted. However, in the end, Suda was sneered at and called bully of the disabled and scum, to which he couldn't stand and resigned voluntarily a few months later. He was acting like the big man here, but was a man who couldn't even endure a slight change in environment. Things didn't stop there. According to Negishi-san, some of Suda's relatives were disabled. His wife was furious when she found out the reason for the demotion and divorced him after kicking him out of the house. Social media nowadays is scary. They even know what happened after Suda quit. That's scary. I should be careful too. Tatano-san didn't do anything wrong, so don't worry. More importantly, congratulations on your promotion to a full-time employee! You're a fellow employee from now on! Yes, I'm looking forward to working with you. I'll do my best. As a senior staff member, I have to do my best too. I was so happy to hear that my fellow workers were able to become full-time employees as well. I got a raise in salary too. Now I can send my younger brothers to college. All right, I'm going to work hard from now on. Thank you all for your continued support and guidance.